You're outside on a clear night, maybe you're walking the dog or just stepping out for some air. You look up, you see the moon, a few planets, and a smear of countless stars. It's quiet. And for a second, the question hits you. It's the oldest, biggest question there is. Is anyone else out there? It's a simple question, but the answer changes everything. For thousands of years, we've told stories about beings from the sky gods, angels, monsters, aliens. We seem to have a deep seated need for the universe to be populated. It feels too big, too empty to just be for us. But what if it is? What if we are the first? Not just the first in our galaxy, but the first intelligent, tool using, civilization building species in the entire history of the observable universe. What if this whole cosmic experiment, with its trillions of galaxies and billions of years, has finally produced one species capable of looking back at it and wondering what it all means? And that species is us. It sounds arrogant. It sounds like the kind of self centered thinking that got us believing the sun revolved around the earth. But there's a real powerful argument to be made that we are, in fact, alone. Or at least the first to the party. And it's a chilling thought. The argument starts with a simple observation. The universe is incredibly old, about 13.8 billion years old. Our solar system is a relative newcomer at about 4.5 billion years. Our species, Homo sapiens, is a baby. We've only been around for about 300,000 years. Our technological civilization, the kind that can send radio waves into space, is barely a century old. Now think about the size. There are maybe 2 trillion galaxies in the observable universe. And each of those galaxies has, on average, 100 billion stars. Many of those stars have planets. The numbers are just staggering. You end up with a number of Earth-like planets that's so big, it's basically meaningless. Billions upon billions of chances for life to arise. So you have all this time and all these places. If a civilization could arise, it should have. And if it could arise, it should have done so millions or even billions of years before us. Think about what that means. A civilization just a million years more advanced than us would be like gods. A million years is nothing on a cosmic scale. It's a blink of an eye. But for a technological species, it's an eternity. Think about our technology from just 100 years ago. Now imagine compounding that progress for a million years. They would be able to travel between stars easily. They would be able to harness the energy of entire suns. Their engineering projects would be visible across the galaxy. They would be everywhere. And we see nothing. This is the heart of the Fermi Paradox. The physicist Enrico Fermi asked the question back in the 1950s. If the math says the universe should be teeming with life, then where is everybody? The silence from the cosmos is deafening. There are a lot of possible answers to this question. But one of the simplest and most terrifying is that there's nobody to hear us. We're shouting into an empty room. This leads to the idea of the Great Filter. The Great Filter is a concept that says there's some step, some barrier in the development of life that is incredibly hard to get past. It's a wall that almost every form of life smacks into and dies. There could be many such filters. Maybe the first filter is life itself. Maybe getting from a soup of chemicals to the first self-replicating cell is a 1 in a trillion shot. We see life everywhere on Earth, so it feels easy. But we only have one example Earth life. We have no idea if it happened anywhere else. For all we know, the jump from non-life to life is so fantastically improbable that it only happened once in this entire galaxy. Or this entire universe. If that's the case, we won the lottery on the first ticket we ever bought. We passed the first great filter, but let's say life itself is common. Maybe little microbes are floating in the oceans of a billion worlds. What's the next filter? Maybe it's the jump to complex life. On Earth, single-celled life dominated for about 3 billion years. 3 billion years. That's an almost unimaginable stretch of time. Then, in a relatively short period, we got the Cambrian explosion, and life suddenly got big and weird and complicated. Maybe that jump is the filter. Maybe most planets with life just stay as microbial slime forever. The conditions have to be just right for just long enough to get animals and plants. If that's a filter, then we're still special. We're not just the one planet with life, but the one planet where life got interesting. Okay, so maybe complex life is out there, little alien fish swimming in alien oceans. What's the next hurdle? Intelligence. The kind of intelligence we have, the kind that builds things, asks questions, and develops language. This might be a much bigger filter than we think. Evolution doesn't have a goal. It's not trying to produce intelligent life, it's just about survival and reproduction. For 150 million years, dinosaurs were the dominant life form on this planet. They were incredibly successful. But they never built a radio telescope. An asteroid had to wipe them out to give little mammals a chance. Maybe intelligence is just a fluke, a rare side effect of a particular evolutionary path that almost never happens. We assume intelligence is a great survival trait, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a weird, unstable mutation. But let's keep going. Let's say there are other intelligent species out there. They have language. They have societies. They figured out fire and the wheel. What's the next filter? This is the one that really keeps people up at night. The filter might be ahead of us. Maybe the final great filter is technology itself. Maybe the moment a species becomes smart enough to split the atom, or engineer a plague, or alter its climate on a global scale, it starts a countdown clock to its own extinction. Look at us, we developed nuclear weapons a few decades ago. We came terrifyingly close to using them to wipe ourselves out. We're in the middle of a climate crisis that we created. We're developing artificial intelligence that could, in some scenarios, become uncontrollable. We're toying with genetic engineering that could have unforeseen consequences. Maybe this is the story of every intelligent civilization. They rise up, they discover the laws of physics, they harness immense power, and then, like a child playing with matches, they burn the house down. Maybe no civilization anywhere ever makes it past this stage. Maybe the universe is full of the ruins of one planet wonders who flared brightly for a few thousand years, and then snuffed themselves out. If this is true, the silence we hear from space isn't the sound of an empty universe. It's the sound of a graveyard, and we're the next ones in line. This is a profoundly bleak thought. It suggests that our greatest strength, our intelligence, is also our fatal flaw. It's the thing that will inevitably destroy us, and the fact that we see no one else out there is the evidence. It's the warning sign. So, this is the case for us being first, or alone. It's a combination of improbabilities. The improbable jump to life. The improbable jump to complex life. The improbable jump to intelligence, and the almost certain self-destruction of any species that makes it that far. It's a chain of unlikely events, and we are the only ones, so far, to make it all the way through. It's a powerful argument. It fits the data we have, which is zero evidence of anyone else. But it's not the only way to look at the problem. There's another side to this, a side that says we're not alone at all. We just haven't been looking long enough, or in the right way. The universe might be full of life, and the reason we don't see it has nothing to do with great filters. Let's start with the most basic problem scale. We say we've been searching for aliens. But what does that really mean? We've been using radio telescopes to listen for signals for about 60 years. Our galaxy, the Milky Way, is 100,000 light years across. Listening for a signal for 60 years is like dipping a coffee cup into the ocean and concluding there are no whales. The amount of the sky we've properly searched is minuscule, and we're only listening for certain kinds of signals. They're radio waves. We use radio, so we assume they will too. That's like an ancient Roman assuming that any future civilization would communicate with smoke signals. What if they use technology we can't even imagine? Neutrino signals? Gravitational waves? Some form of communication that's woven into the fabric of space-time itself. We wouldn't even know how to look for it. We might be flooded with messages every second of every day, but we're completely blind and deaf to them. Then there's the problem of time. A civilization might have existed in our galaxy for 2 million years. But what if they died out 500 million years ago before the dinosaurs even appeared on Earth? Their signals would have passed us by long ago. Their ruins would be dust. Or what if the next great civilization is just getting started now on the other side of the galaxy? We won't hear from them for 100,000 years. The window of time for two civilizations to exist, be close enough, and be using similar technology to communicate might be incredibly small. The universe could have hosted thousands of civilizations, each living and dying in its own lonely epoch, never knowing about the others. It's like two people trying to meet in a huge city, but they don't specify a time or a place. They could wander forever and never cross paths. But there are more exotic possibilities, too. Maybe they're out there and they know we're here, and they're deliberately staying quiet. This is the zoo hypothesis. Maybe there's a galactic rule, a kind of prime directive, like in Star Trek. Don't interfere with primitive cultures. Let them develop on their own. We might be like an uncontacted tribe in the Amazon. The outside world knows they're there, but they've made a conscious decision to leave them alone, to let their culture be preserved. We might be a protected cosmic nature reserve, or maybe the reason is more sinister. Maybe the universe is a dark forest. In a dark forest, everyone stays hidden. If you make a sound, you give away your position. And you don't know if the thing that hears you is friendly or hostile. The safest thing to do is to stay silent. And if you do see someone else, you eliminate them before they can eliminate you. In this scenario, the reason the universe is so quiet is because all the smart civilizations are hiding. The first message we send out might be our last. It could be like a baby crying in a jungle full of predators. And then there's a final, mind-bending idea. Maybe they are here, all around us. But we are just too primitive to perceive them. The author Arthur C. Clarke said that any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. Let's take that a step further. What if a sufficiently advanced civilization is indistinguishable from physics? Think of an anthill next to a superhighway. The ants go about their daily lives. They forage, they build, they fight. They are completely unaware of the superhighway. It's so far beyond their comprehension that it doesn't even register as a thing. They might notice vibrations or strange smells, but they would have no concept of cars or people or the global economy that the highway is a part of. We could be the ants. A Type the Third civilization on the Kardashev scale would control the energy output of their entire galaxy. What would that look like to us? Would we even recognize it? Maybe the patterns in the cosmic microwave background radiation or the strange behavior of dark matter are the byproducts of their galactic engineering projects. We're trying to explain it with natural laws, but we're just ants trying to understand a highway. Their existence could be all around us, in the very structure of the universe, but we lack the senses and the intellect to see it. So you have these two huge competing sets of ideas. On one hand, the Great Filter. The idea that something stops life from reaching our stage, and we are one of the very few, or the very first, to make it. On the other hand, the idea that the universe is full, but we're just too isolated in space and time, or too primitive in our technology and perception to notice. So where does that leave us? Are we the first, or are we just clueless? The honest answer is we don't know. And anyone who tells you they know for sure is not being honest. We have exactly one data point, us. It's impossible to draw a graph with one point. But the question itself, and how we think about it, tells us a lot about ourselves. Let's imagine for a moment that it's true. We are the first. The Great Filter is real, and it's behind us. We made it. Life, complexity, intelligence. We won the cosmic lottery. The silence from space is confirmation that we are unique. What does that mean for us? It means the universe is not a crowded stage we've just walked onto. It's an empty building, and we're the first ones to turn on the lights. The responsibility is staggering. If we are the only thinking beings, then we are the universe's only way of knowing itself. The atoms in your body, forged in the hearts of long-dead stars, have finally arranged themselves in such a way that they can look back at those stars and understand where they came from. The cosmos, for 13.8 billion years, has been a story with no one to read it. We are the first readers. If we blow it, if we wipe ourselves out in a nuclear war or a climate disaster, we might be extinguishing the only spark of consciousness in this entire galaxy. Maybe the entire universe. The story would end, the lights would go out, and the universe would go back to being a beautiful but dumb machine, with no one to appreciate it. Suddenly our petty squabbles seem incredibly small. Our political divisions, our hatreds, our short-sighted greed. Now, it's all like children fighting over toys in a house that's on fire. If we are the first, then our primary job, our moral imperative, is to survive. We have to grow up. We have to get our act together. We have a duty not just to ourselves, but to the cosmos itself to keep this little flicker of awareness alive. It also means that we are the ancestors. If we can survive our technological adolescence, we could be the ones to spread life and consciousness throughout the galaxy. We could be the ancient aliens for whatever life comes after us. It's a huge, terrifying, and beautiful responsibility. Now let's imagine the other scenario is true. The universe is full of life. We're not first. We're just new. We're the kids on the block. What does that mean? For one thing, it's a lesson in humility. All of our achievements, our art, our science, our philosophy, they might be kindergarten level stuff compared to what's out there. Our ideas about God and the meaning of life might seem quaint and primitive. It would be a reality check for our entire species. We're not the pinnacle of creation. We're just one more species among countless others. It could be wonderful. It could mean we're not alone in our existential dread. It could mean there are answers to the big questions out there. It could mean there are beings who have survived their own technological adolescence and can teach us how. Contact could be the single greatest event in human history, ushering in an age of peace and enlightenment. Or it could be the end of us. If the dark forest theory is right, contact would be a death sentence. Or if the gap in technology is too large, we might be unintentionally crushed, the way a construction project destroys an anthill. Or they might see us as a threat or a resource or simply a pest. The history of contact between human civilizations on Earth is not a happy one. The technologically superior culture has almost always dominated or destroyed the other. Why would we expect it to be any different with aliens? Either way, whether we are alone or not, the implications are profound. Both answers force us to look at ourselves in a new light. Both answers demand that we think beyond our own short lives and our own small problems. The search continues. We're building bigger telescopes, like the James Webb Space Telescope, that can look at the atmospheres of distant planets and search for the chemical signs of life. We're listening with more sensitive radio arrays. We're scanning the sky for strange, unnatural-looking objects. We're still just dipping our cup in the ocean, but the cup is getting bigger. Maybe one day, we'll find something. A signal, a strange chemical in an alien atmosphere, an artifact floating in the void. And on that day, the world will change forever. We will finally know our place. We will know if we are the first or just the latest. Until then, we live in this strange, privileged moment of uncertainty. We live in the quiet before the dawn. Or the quiet of an empty house. We don't know which. So, the next time you're outside on a clear night, and you look up at that endless ocean of stars, remember the two possibilities. One is that up there, on countless worlds, there are other beings looking back at our sun and wondering the same thing. We are part of a vast unseen family, a galactic community waiting to be born. The other is that there is nothing. Just gas and dust and rock and mindless churning physics. And on this one little blue dot, and this one alone, something miraculous has happened. Consciousness has flickered into existence. Either possibility should be enough to take your breath away. And either one should be enough to make you think about what we do next. Because what we do next might matter more than we can possibly imagine. We are living in the most important time in the history of the universe. We just don't know if we're at the beginning of the story or about to write the final, tragic page. The silence from space offers no clues. It just waits for us to make our choice.